We have this website, so again, we can help you with your resume. We can help you with your interview tips, so you can have this one-on-one interaction with one of us, probably myself as well. But there's also this really neat website out there that we've encouraged some people to use. And this is for those that maybe don't have time to have that one-on-one interaction with somebody, or want to do things on their own, or maybe you're a person that's up at 3 a.m. and you want to have your time to do it at that time in the morning. And so this website that I'm going to show you how to get enrolled, but it's for basic career services. So it's going to have everything that we do included in one website, and I'm going to show you how to sign up for it, and then how to kind of navigate the system, because it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, but it does have a ton of awesome things on there. So we're just going to navigate and go through it for a few minutes. And of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. But it's fairly straightforward. So I'm going to share my screen. So the website itself is called kycareeredge.com. And so it's going to look like this. Now, if you Google Kentucky Career Edge, it's going to come up something different. So you have to put in kycareeredge.com to get this particular website. And so if you're new, you don't have an account, you're going to go to these bold green letters here and register here. I already have an account, so I'm not going to do the complete registration, but all they want is your first name, last name, email, password, phone number, and zip code. All right, and so you're going to, when you're making your new account, you're going to click Create Account. I'm going to go ahead and go up here and click Login because I already have an account. So the first page that you come upon when you log in is going to be this life skills page. It kind of automatically brings it up. However, if you want to see the home page, it's going to take you to the home page. And it has it set up to like level 1, level 2. And that's showing you how far in the modules and the resume and all that you've progressed. So if you're curious to see where you are and all that, you can click the home page and go there. You can look at your profile, make a profile. And of course, it's just got some simple buttons here. All right, so we're going to go back to the life skills page. So we have 18 modules in this. So if you're looking to do some extra work, if you're looking to do a little bit of homework, if you're looking just to improve your skills overall, you can go through each one of these modules. They aren't hard at all. They're fairly straightforward, and they have little assignments you can do, videos that you can do, watch, and then it's just very interactive. So I'm going to show you the different 18 modules. I'm not going to go through each one, but I'm going to show you where they are. And then I'm going to show you where the resume builder is. There's even mock applications. So if you're just not computer savvy and you've not done this on the computer before, they have applications that you can fill out. There's also an interview simulator. So you can, if you've got a camera, so if you've got a phone, you can click on the button and I'll show you how to go through all of that. They're going to ask you a question, you're going to answer it, and somebody on the website is going to review it and say completed or not completed. And they can even have a little place to give you notes for it as well. So the little modules right here, the very first one is getting to know yourself. So as you can see, it's just got an introduction right here that says getting to know yourself. He's just explaining this particular module. I'm not going to play him. There's a reading assignment if you're interested in reading. So they've got a workbook. They have an audio lesson. So if you're driving and you like to listen to things, you can listen to an audio lesson. And then they have these videos. This is just the beginning module. So what do you believe in? Know your skills. Are you thinking about an entrepreneurship? What is your brand? So your brand is, what does it look like when you Google yourself? So what does your social media look like? There used to be this myth that businesses weren't allowed to Google you before they hired you. I'm not sure where the myth kind of originated from, but I think that we all kind of as a majority know that businesses, if they're interested in you, will absolutely look your name up and look you up on social media. So your brand is, what are they going to see when they put your name in there? Hopefully the first thing that they see is you have a LinkedIn account. If you don't know what that is, I'd be glad to go over that. But after that, of course, will be your social media accounts. And something that I tell all of my participants is make sure that your social media, so your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, all of that stuff is locked up really tight. That way, if they do click on it, they see it, they're not going to get in and see all of your posts. They're just going to see everything that's public. And we don't want anything to really be public. So making things as private as possible, because we're all allowed our own opinions. But we don't want our opinions to kind of interfere with our ability to have a job. So again, you can do these little assignments. I know that you think assignments, no, why would I want to do additional homework? However, they are really beneficial because there are sometimes things that we don't think about ourselves. So you'll go in here and you're going to do a self-evaluation of rating your happiness. You're going to say, you know, your rating, financial, spiritual, fitness, career, relationships. And here's a rating key down at the bottom. So 5, everything is fine, no improvement is needed. 4, things are generally okay, but I can make a couple of changes. 3, in posting, things aren't great, but they're not bad. So they're pretty descriptive in here. So if you're like, I'm not really sure, it kind of lays it out pretty easy for you to figure out what it would be. And then down here is how can you improve in the areas that you're not completely satisfied with. I'm sure that every once in a while we'll sit and think, I'm not happy with how much money I make or whatever, but I don't feel like we sit down and kind of rate those things and think about how can I improve in certain areas. So I'm going to click on another one. It says my passion. You're just going to answer questions. I am happiest when I am. I feel energized when I am. And these again are just really self-awareness. And you may be asking, what does this have to do with your job readiness skills? Well, knowing what makes us happy will absolutely influence how we're able to work, because we're going to be at a job. The idea is working somewhere for at least 40 hours. Well, if you think about it, when you're working somewhere for 40 hours, that's the majority of your day for 5 days a week. So you want to be happy wherever you are. You want to be able to be satisfied and work to where you're not waking up in the morning dreading your entire day and only looking forward to those few moments when you come home. Because most of us, we have families, and even if we don't have families, we still have outside of the job responsibilities. And so we don't want to always be dreading getting up each morning or each evening, whatever shift we have, and going into the job, because we want you to have a career. We want you to be happy. Happy people make a happy community. So that's the idea, that we're increasing happiness overall. All right, so that was the first module, and like I said, there's 18 of these. I'm not going to go through each one, but you can go down. It has really everything. So I know that sometimes we have issues with financial, like budgeting. I know that I sometimes have issues. So we have a module about budgeting, working in teams. I have worked with plenty of participants that are great as individuals, but they don't have a job because in particular, they cannot work with a group of people. So here's a module to talk about how we can work with a group of people. And the other set of modules is in the professional development area. And this kind of just dwells a little bit deeper, but it also right here says preparing for the interview. And these are really awesome right here. These preparing for the interview process, and answering difficult questions. I mean, these go into like, what do you say when you have a criminal history, right? When do you disclose that stuff? What do you tell them when you have huge gaps in your unemployment or in your employment? How do you address that without making it sound like they shouldn't hire you, right? So these are really awesome modules to go through. I believe in the toolkit, okay, this is where you're going to find those tools to help you build your resume. If you're not very proficient with the Word, this is a great place to go to. This actually makes making a resume very easy because it's got everything lined out for you. You don't have to worry about the format. You're not worried about the font. You're just typing in. You're literally asking or answering the questions they're asking. So we're going to go in and look at that. So here's a resume builder. And right here, if you need the additional help, you can click on her, and she's going to tell you about this in particular, this resume builder. So I've already began a resume, but we're going to click on create new resume. You do have to name it, so I'll put Sarah too. Your industry. So where are you trying to apply? Because something that you may not know is that you have to build a resume for each different job that you apply for. And the reason is because sometimes we're not going to be in the same field. Now, if you have a job that's in a similar field, then probably you don't have to build another resume. But sometimes we're branching out. So we may be looking at manufacturing, and then over here we may be looking at retail, being a supervisor in retail, or we may be looking at healthcare. So those 3 resumes, they don't mesh. You need 3 different resumes for those 3 different topics. Sorry, let me move my little screen here. So we can say, let's see. Here are the options. Now, if you go in here and you're like, I don't see any options for my field, then you can go up and hit an A, which is what I'm going to do, just to keep it general. So I'm sure we knew, but if we don't know, there's actually two different types of resume. There's a chronological resume and there's a functional resume. So the chronological resume is for the person who does not have any huge gaps. And I'm not talking a couple months here and there. If we were laid off or whatnot, there may be a couple months between finding a job and having one. But it's for those people who have worked back to back for the majority of the time that they started a job. A functional resume is for those people that may have been incarcerated or became single parents or were taking care of someone ill. The point is, for a functional resume, these are for people that don't have that job experience or not a lot of it. Or, for example, they have years in between their jobs. So if you were working in 2007 and then you were incarcerated and you haven't gone back to work till 2012, we're not exactly going to feel like a chronological resume is going to be the best for you. We're going to do a functional resume. And a functional resume is also really good for like high school students just coming out of high school, or college students just coming out of college that they don't have that experience, but they may have volunteer experience, or they have other experiences that they can pull from high school, so from their education. So we're going to click on functional just for the sake of, we've probably all done a chronological resume. I get kind of impatient. I clicked it twice, so let's see. Oh, save and next. Hey guys, you got to hit save and next. All right, so you can hit here. It's going to be edit. You're going to type in about you section. So this is going to be your vitals. This is what I call your vitals. So your first name, last name, and where you live, your phone number, your email address. If you've got a LinkedIn account, this is a great place to put it. And then you can hit save and next. Your summary is going to be, so we kind of remember there's an objective usually on top of those resumes. Those objectives have kind of been phased out. We now kind of call them summaries. And summaries is just saying, hey, I've done this for so many years and I'm good at doing this, and this is what I potentially am seeing for my future. It really only should be about 1 or 2 sentences. If you get into a paragraph, then you're cutting into your resume. Your resume needs to stay about a page and a half. It really doesn't ever need to go over 2 pages. So if your resume is very lengthy and wordy, then we need to figure out where to cut it down at, because on average, employers take about 20 seconds to look through your resume to decide whether or not they're actually going to move forward with an interview. And if you're over 2 pages, I promise they're not reading all of that. And so we want to put all of your highlighted skills right when they can see it and catch their eye and like, oh wow, you did this. Oh wow, you worked here for this amount of time. So your summary only needs to be about 2 sentences, maybe 3. All right, for your functional resume, your education is actually going to go at the top. So that's why your education is being asked here. And this is because we're highlighting your skills and your education and your knowledge versus all of your work history. So you're going to put your school name. If you've won any awards, you can put all of that. And then kind of towards the bottom, we're going to put your work experience. So you do still put your job title, the location. You are going to put the year. However, for a functional resume, you do want to limit it to the year. We're not really going to put the month, right? Because the month indicates that there's a lot, when you first glance at a month with a year, you're thinking, oh, okay, they've been gone a long time. Now it does say put your year in, or say your month in here, but I'm also telling you it's okay if you skip the month and just put the year. So you can put the company name, the job title, so what you did. So right here, I think I had put cashier before. So whatever title they called you, in the location, and of course your responsibilities within that. And then you can add another bullet point or another employment position that you've had. And then it's a really great thing to try to pull any volunteer experience that you've had. And some people may say, well, I've never officially volunteered, but there's actually a lot of opportunities that we do that we may not even realize that we volunteered at. It doesn't necessarily have to say like you volunteered at the animal shelter for 72 hours. It could be that you went to the hospital and you continually went to the hospital to pass out X, Y, and Z while you're visiting your grandma. And so you found yourself at the hospital so often that you're helping employees do something. That could be technically called volunteering. Or if you're in high school and you don't have any work experience and you often helped out with soccer games, you would have maybe considered that volunteering, but that's actually a great thing to put on your resume, that you passed out balls during soccer games. And so we can just, again, pull from experience that we've had. We can talk about your work experience. We can talk about any experience that you've had in the past, and we can just pull from all of that and put it on your resume. There are a lot of things that we do in life that we just don't realize that can be something that you put on your resume. So you can save and finalize. So the really cool thing about this website is that I have people say, well, I don't have a computer or a laptop. I don't have access to any of that, but I do have a smartphone. The majority of us do have a smartphone, even if we're paying for the data, so you don't have a lot of time to spend on your smartphone. This is smartphone compatible. So you can do all of this on your phone, and then when you save and finalize it, it will format it into a Word document, or you can email yourself the Word document if you can't download it at that time. So again, this is all phone compatible, and you can do it right on your phone. And you can even pick the layout that you like. So if you don't like the layout that it made for you, you can click one of these, which they all look great. And again, you'll save it. Really quickly, I'm going to bring you back over here. So I hit the toolkit. This is where I am right now. And I'm going to click the interview simulation trainer. It does take a second to load just because it is a pretty heavy part. So again, you have to put your name, and you can see I've kind of showed cases a few times. Start new interview. So the neat thing about this is that if you start an interview and you want to go back later because you're not finished, you can go back and you can click on the name of the interview. So typically what I would do is you could put Sarah or your name and then 1, and then your name and 2. That way, if you have multiple, you'll know. So because I'm on Zoom, it's not going to let me turn the camera on or the microphone on this page. So you can't actively be on Zoom while you're using this. But I just wanted to show you some of the features. So what it is, again, is this guy is going to tell you about this website, just like all the other little videos did. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to choose a question. So you can choose any of these questions. More than likely, these questions are going to be the ones that you're going to be asked at an interview. Tell me about yourself is the big one. And that way, and also remember in those modules that I was showing you, it had a module that said interview preparation, and in there is going to say, how do you answer these questions, right? So tell me about yourself professionally. This is not a personal question. This is not tell me you have 4 kids and 2 dogs and a house and a car and you need a job because you need to supplement your income, right? This is tell me about yourself professionally. What have you done in your professional life that interests me for you being here within our company? So I sold so many things. The company gained additional income while I was working with them because I did this particular skill. So they want to know all those professional things with you. So you can click on this, why should I hire you? And what it's going to do, again, it's not going to let me do it, but there's a button that you can click to record. And after you record it, it's going to say over here, right here, reviewed and approved right here. And then if they had any notes, they're going to leave notes and comments there. You can also leave notes and comments for yourself. They just have really good questions. What would your previous boss and coworkers say about you? How do you tolerate other coworkers with different goals and how to complete a task? This is actually very important because when we talk about people that have not worked continuously, sometimes the reason that we've not stayed at a position very long is because we don't get along with others. We don't get along with other coworkers, but we don't really want to admit that to ourselves, right? We want to feel like it was the boss's fault or the coworker's fault. However, if it's 2 or 3 times that you've left a position because of someone else, then we need to start looking within and figure out how can we get past that. And we can do, the Kentucky Career Center can do workshops with you. We can talk about, anger management. We can talk about self-control. We can talk about all those soft skills that you may need. So those are just really good questions. You can save and review it yourself. You can send it to somebody else to watch. So I feel like those are 2 really important toolkits on here, but there are also, all of these are important. 2 other ones is the cover letter. I've been also asked, do I have to write a cover letter and how do I write a cover letter? Cover letters for me personally are very hard because you're basically saying, hey, I've got to brag about myself and I've got to do it efficiently and professionally. So you can here click a new cover letter, and I won't go through it like I did. The resume, I just want to show you the format. So again, you're not having to figure out what the format's going to look like. You're not having to figure out what the font is going to look like. You're just going to fill in all of the questions that they asked, which is labeled right there for you, and then you're going to save and continue, and you don't have to worry about it. It's all done. So I think that's really awesome because, again, for me personally, the cover letter is the hardest thing for me to write. So having it already laid out in that format is perfect. And then the thank you letter, same kind of deal. You can create a new thank you letter. It's a format you don't have to worry about. You just fill out all the answers. So you have your vitals on the thank you card, and then who you're sending it to. And then you're just saying, it's already got something laid out right here. You don't even have to come up with something. And so it just sends them a thank you card, which you need to do after every interview so they can make sure that they remember your name and face and remember how grateful you were for that interview. So there are a ton of other things on here. I don't want to take up too much time, but there's a personality quiz on here. So if you're not sure what your personality type is, it's right here. Career cluster. So after you take your personality test, you have to take that assessment. It's going to tell you what careers that are better suited to you based on your personality type. So just really neat things that we may not have thought about on our own. So I'm going to stop sharing that website. But again, if anyone has any questions about how to maneuver it and go through it, I know that each time I've gone through it, I've gone through it pretty quick, but it is pretty self-explanatory. It is a rather easy website to maneuver. And it also, again, is smartphone friendly. So if you don't have access to a computer, but you do have a smartphone, then you can get on it that way.